Upix no. Excited yes, Upix no. That is the motto for a city opening. Excited yes, motto. Excited yes, don't have the Upix. That's the motto. Let's kick it off here. Welcome to the Cafe Nightly Show. I'm your host, the Goldsmith. It is the 29th of July, 2024. It is the week of the Paris City release, and I say it's a week here because we did have the sale of the block explorers, which kind of we usually have right before a city release. We do not have a terminal sale before Paris. We are going to have a registration period starting tomorrow for that bundle sale. We are going to have the actual sale of the bundles on Wednesday, and then on Thursday is going to be the traditional city mint. We'll get into and remind ourselves on the dates, the participation in the bundle sale, what those costs are, how that works, reminders about how a registration sale works, because that's what our bundle sale is. You register tomorrow, have the sale on Wednesday, get into the details and reminders there, and maybe a little bit of opinion along the way about how Upwind's choosing to do this. Even if it's not the best for me, it does sound like some people are excited about this method, so we'll kind of go over that. Some potential ways people can use that method for their own benefit, and some realities, because I do want to get into some realities, because there's certain parts of the methodology that seem like great. It sounds like it's going to work great for me. I want to do blank, 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 blank. But there's things to consider or to remember when we talk about these type of limited opportunity sales, these pre-registration sales, how they work, what that looks like for quantity for ourselves, what that looks like for the participation of others as well. And then, of course, we had a couple small things, but they are definitely worth touching on. I do want to go over some reminders about crypto and what's going on with Sparklet, and some ideas about what crypto looks like as a whole for the people who haven't seen a crypto launch, and you haven't seen them go way up or way down, and they haven't seen things regulate. And that idea, again, there is no direct, and I don't have a direct prediction for what's going to go up at what point. I do have a personal target, but I'm not sharing it for the next time I'm going to go and buy. But it definitely is something that is worth reminding on. So again, now that it seems to start regulating a little bit, that skid, that sell off up front of people selling their essentially free Sparklet they earned. They didn't have a direct USD stake in purchasing it, and they were trying to sell out early as quick as they could. In some cases, maybe the people selling out their Sparklet, they were motivated to do so, and they just been sitting and waiting for that opportunity. And that's kind of what pushes that down. There is the supply, there is the demand, and then there is the motivation. And sometimes if there's somebody who's motivated to push things down, who they're trying to put modify or over exaggerate the force supply availability, sometimes that can push things down a little bit before demand can catch up with it. But we do want to go over just an idea of keeping our eyes out for the price of Spark going forward, and how we can kind of take a deep breath and focus on utility along the way as well, because overall, that's what Sparklet's meant to do. And then finally, I do want to go over the airdrop multiplier, because that did happen over the weekend. We talked about we weren't sure how this would work. It's a comparative function. I like this function much more so than rewarding people for a number of followers, correlated with the age of their account. So they get some type of modifier for this, and then there's some coefficient that is multiplied in that gives you your final score. And you have people with old accounts that didn't have very many followers, that didn't have very many people seeing it, who were getting strong multiplying effects. And you had people who had accounts that had lots of followers, but the followers weren't actually seeing what was sent, because they may have been followers from 10 years ago. Half the accounts may not have been active anymore for all we knew, or people weren't actually logging in, even though they were effective, active, non-closed accounts. So it is interesting to see this new methodology. We'll get into that on the airdrop side. We'll get into what a lot of people saw, including myself, as far as the rewards are concerned. We'll see where rewards set currently, and remind ourselves that this is going to be done essentially on a weekly basis with a different multiplier each week, meaning your results this week could be different than last week, either to the positive, either to the negative. So you got to keep being participatory if you want to earn Sparkle on the way. And then finally, this idea that the way the amount that Sparkle is given out, it does depend on the number of participants. The way that the steps are done along the way for the levels, how much Sparkle you get in what level, that could be entirely different than before. We know there were some interesting results. There was people who got higher levels who ended up with 1, 2, 3 spark. There was somebody who got 40 spark. It was a big deal. Again, equivalent of 40,000 spark. That distribution could be entirely different. There could be a larger number of people earning towards the top of the distribution ladder just because the way this is set, meaning that the average person at the top of the distribution ladder is going to get a smaller reward. Each individual is going to get a smaller reward, but there's more people who are going to qualify for it. So it's nice to get a large, the higher end of the large reward as opposed to one person getting 40 spark and, everybody else averaging, half a spark or less. So we'll see how that sale we'll see how the rest of this event goes. But as a reminder, a couple things that did happen over the weekend when that was kind of getting figured out for the prior week. And then, of course, before we get in there, because we are talking crypto, because we are talking about the city of Paris, and we have a lot that's riding on it for a lot of people. All views and opinions expressed by myself, mine and mine alone. Contributors game strategy or financial advice don't represent the game of the team of Upland. Guest contributors who we do have on have their own opinions, and they are welcome to them. They should not be taken as game strategy or financial advice. They don't represent myself, the Goldsmith, the Caffeinated Show, or the game or the team of Upland. Easy enough. So yes, Paris. We're gonna look at what happened today before we can look at what's still to come. First and foremost, we have this very, very common functionality. Ooh, we have a very, very common functionality of a city release where we have a terminal sale. That is something that is happening after the actual release. So terminal sale is not something to look forward to at the moment, but we already did have a sweetener sale. That is an opportunity for people to essentially stock up on UPX a little bit while, getting a sweetener or block explorer in addition. It's almost like a bonus for buying Sparklet now as opposed to any other time. Some people can look at it as a bonus for buying buying a BE. You go and you buy the BE, the Block Explorer, and you say, I paid the blank amount for the Block Explorer. I'm also getting UPX. You can look at it either way. Obviously, we have learned, or the market has evolved to a certain point where just going straight out and buying UPX at 1,000 UPX to $1, it just doesn't make sense on the market anymore. There's other ways to acquire UPX. The markets between the UPX and the USD, they're very significantly different. So if you want property, go buy it and you have USD in your pocket, go buy the property in USD rather than going and buying UPX with USD and then going and buying on the UPX market. That's been something that has evolved over time, but there's still use case of Sparkly. There's still use case of UPX, with the case in point being city releases. When we have a city release, we have a mint price. Mint price is an UPX. Dividends in the game of Upland are in UPX. So we have that cyclatory effect of the UPX moving its way from minting, from dividends, back into minting, and then turning around and having these little small sales along the way. Because, again, we talk about UPX primarily being used to buy properties, inclusive of these bundles. So let's take a look at a couple of those. Again, these bundles, a lot of them are in USD. A lot of them have been in USD. I'm glad to see that we have some UPX sales here along the way. As a reminder, again, that sale, that pre-sale, the registration does start tomorrow, so make sure you do register if you're interested in being part of the sale. That registration is going to run from Tuesday, July 30th, at 9 a.m. PT. That's tomorrow, until Wednesday the 31st at 6 a.m. PT. Where are our dates here? That is, sale starts on Wednesday. Never mind. The sale starts on Wednesday the 31st at 9 a.m. PT. That sale at 9 a.m. PT, the registration period actually tends to end an hour early. So 9 a.m. to 8 a.m. is going to be your registration period. That's Tuesday into Wednesday, with your sale taking place between Wednesday the 31st at 9 a.m. PT. If it doesn't sell out, the sale is going to end at 6 a.m. PT on Thursday, August the 1st. And the reason why that has to end before the city release, the city mint, is because unsold bundles, the properties from those unsold bundles, they're going to be mintable in the city release. So you kind of have this flow, this pass through this flow event where on the side of the presale, if you choose to participate in the presale and you buy something on the presale, then you are going to get a randomized property. And if the market decides not to buy all those pre-sales for whatever reason, if the prices are too high or people want to buy what they want to buy and they don't want to get some randomized version of that, we don't know. We'll see how the market responds. But if that happens, then there's still a way for those same properties to get sold in a competitive method with lots of people participate, which is exciting. So I'm glad they have a methodology here that allows for the sale to fail, which again, I'm not predicting that it will, but the sale to fail and people to still be able to get those properties minted out during the city release. So let's get into some details here. Again, there are some different property sales, as we talked about, 4 different bundles. We have this 16,000 UPX bundle at 1,000 bundles. One property, it is a 16,000 UPX or higher mint value. And this is an opportunity for somebody to secure at least one property. If they are not going to travel to Paris to go and mint properties, if they want to get one of those small properties, and someone like me, or they want to get a property just to have a property, so they want to spend as little as possible. And they're like me, where if they know they're going to go and mint, they may end up minting a big one, a large property, or a property that's in a high UPX or UP2 neighborhood. Therefore, end up with not so many properties in the city of Paris. This can be an opportunity to pick up some small properties. Maybe it's your only, maybe it's just sneaking in an extra 1 or 2 properties. So you can distribute, again, roll the dice, random distribution. You can distribute where your properties are in Paris. So this is kind of exciting that this exists at this price point. 16,000 UPX, very reasonable. I get a little less than that a day for my dividends, so it's not the end of the world for me to spend 16,000 UPX here. I do pick up another property, and that official mint value or the mint value at city release, at the actual city release, that mint value would have been higher than the price, the 16,000 UPX I paid to buy that bundle. Boom, done deal. It's a good deal. It's a property I might not get. I might not get a 16,000 UPX property if I do not, or I might not get a property that can pay 16,000 UPX and get if I do not participate in this bundle. So that's one that seems very interesting to me. Whether or not you want to get a randomized property and you want to accept what you get on that, that's up to you. But for me, this one makes sense. Mid-price bundle. So this is a little different. Still an UPX, which is good. 48,000 UPX. That's a price point that I do buy a number of properties, but I don't know if it's a price point I necessarily want to target as a random. If I'm spending 48,000 UPX for a single property, I usually want it to be in the neighborhood I want it to be in. I want it to be on the street I want it to be on. I want it to be in a or be of a size, of a shape that makes sense for me to build whatever structure it is I'm thinking about potentially building on that property. So if I am thinking about a 48,000 UPX property, I'm thinking about the right one. But the right one for me, the right one for the city, if I'm doing a collection speculation, the right one to fit the factory if I'm trying to build a factory. So at 40,000 UPX, that is an opportunity for people to get, a mid-price property. They don't have to travel to Paris if they choose not to. They don't have to put the effort to be available at the time of the competitive mint. I do want to be very clear. It can be difficult to be available at the time of the competitive mint. I do expect that at least on the 1,000 properties at the 16,000 UPX mint price, I do expect there to be a little bit of competition there, whereas that bundle may not last for hours. And part of the goal here on Upland's side, or as they put it, one of the things that they're doing with this is to open up the minting to a broader amount of people, to make it more accessible to a larger amount of people. And I would argue that the people who city mints aren't accessible to because of their time zone, because they have a vastly different time zone, it might be tricky for them to get in that 2-hour window. And I say 2-hour window because I do think that this will probably sell out sooner rather than later if Upland has a cooldown period that's not too bad. You'll have somebody who will buy. It'll get to the end of the line. All the people who bought, the hundreds of people who bought, or 100 people, 100, 200, 300 people who bought the first round. If there's not but anybody else in line anymore, then they'll buy their second. And that'll sell out relatively quickly. I think this is a good price point, the 16,000 UPX. And I think that there's a lot of people who like cheaper properties in a city, or towards the lower end of properties in that city. But the 48,000 UPX property, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how many people want to get that as randomized. I will mint a property in Paris that is above 48,000 UPX. I'm almost certain. But I just feel like it has to be the right one for me. And I do, one thing I really appreciate and respect about this sale, or the way this is happening, is since I have this randomized sale that happens before the city mint, I'm kind of, allocating or budgeting how many times I'm going to buy that, knowing that once that is purchased, I've purchased a number of bundles I'm going to purchase. I have a certain amount of UPX I have left. That UPX I can use in the city mint, the competitive city mint on Thursday. And then there's this high price. So there's a 48,000 UPX opportunity, or the bundle single property 40,000 UPX. There was at 16,000 UPX, again single property 16,000 UPX. And then you have this high price property. High price, obviously, Upway's define that as 83,000 UPX for that bundle. You are guaranteed, like the mid price, like the low price, you are guaranteed to get a mint price on your property higher than the amount of UPX you're paying to get that property. So 83,000 UPX is the bundle price, means your property is worth 83,000 UPX or more at mint price, and it's randomized again. You don't know where you're going to get it. You don't know if it's a property that's going to have a high UPX per UP2, and therefore that makes it expensive, or if it's a low UPX per UP2 neighborhood, and it just happens to be a large property, which is what a lot of people want with those higher UPX properties, is a larger property to do different things with, or to be in the right neighborhood or on the right street. Obviously, without control of choosing which property you're buying, there's no guarantee of what street it's going to be on. The curated bundle, and this is the final. This is a final one here that's a little bit different. It is an UPX still. To get 3 properties in Paris, and I kind of like this. The combined value of the property is guaranteed to be at least the price of the bundle. Again, 95,000 UPX, with a chance of receiving properties with a higher total value. So at least 95,000 UPX, might be 100, 130, 140. We don't know. But again, this is an UPX sale for UPX property. So as far as I'm concerned, it's not like these previous bundles where you're paying a USD amount, you gain UPX. You need to see a much higher value than what you paid in, because the UPX to the USD, that's that 1,001 ratio, no longer holds. So this is automatically a decent value if you're getting at least your money's worth or more, because your dividends are going to be based on your mint price. However, at this 95,000 UPX, you could end up with 240 something thousand UPX properties, and then one of the lower price ones. That might be ideal for some people. It could be one of these higher price properties, a single higher price property, and then 2 lower price properties, which could be ideal for someone, because again, you're getting those lower price properties, which I expect to be very interesting for people. I expect people to spend a decent amount of effort and energy trying to mint those properties or purchase those bundles. And then finally, we've got this 95,000 UPX price, which, again, I'm going to probably buy a 95,000 UPX property. It's going to be one I choose to buy, but it's not a price point that's outside of my reality when I'm talking about a new city. When I'm talking about Paris, I'm definitely going to spend 95,000 UPX or more. I know that is my plan, whether or not this sale exists. So it doesn't shift my price point to consider this if it happens to make sense for me. And then finally, this is back into that USD to get an UPX-based mint, or get an UPX-based property. And here we are. Purchasing this item grants the player 3 randomly selected properties in Paris. This bundle includes a chance to receive one of 3 landmarks. There are 3 total landmarks, and one of 25 extra large properties. Here's the thing. There's 50 of these bundles. I don't care that there's 25 large properties. I would care a lot if I got one, but I don't care that there were 25 large properties. if my bundle doesn't have one of them. I don't care that there's 3 landmarks in the bundles if I'm not the one who gets the bundles. $100 is $100. So $99 the cost of this bundle. There's 500 of those available. Of those 500, that means that there is going to be 497 of them that will not have landmarks in them. Boom, done deal. Of those 500 bundles, there is going to be 475 of them that do not have that one bonus extra large property. Done deal. That's just the way the math is going to work. So you're going to have to choose whether or not to participate or not. We know that these are often those scratch tickets for people. People buy these because they are hoping to get the rarity. They're hoping to get that real rarity, and that's going to make the attempt worthwhile. I would argue that without knowing exactly what we expect to get on the UPX side, the UPX value of your properties, you really don't know. You really don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze if you don't hit. I would argue that if you look at these numbers, if you hit, if you get the rarity, you're going to be very happy. But again, the majority of the people are not going to get the rarity here. So keep that in mind when you go to purchase. Don't purchase expecting a miracle. Don't purchase thinking that you're the one, that you have some inside track. There's a specific reason why you are going to get one of the landmarks. It really is dumb luck. So unless you got luck on your side, consider it well before doing so. What's up, JT? Good to see you. Getting ready for Paris myself at this point. But I do love landmarks, and here are the landmarks you could get. The National Theatre of Opera Comique, Tour de Jean Saint-Paul, and then there is the Hotel de Saint. These are 3 landmarks that are available. They could be one. And Paris is going to be full of landmarks. It really is. We're talking about what? An incredible amount of landmarks, 30 and change, which is a ton. Not every city has 30 landmarks. It is incredible to see that many landmarks in a city, but it's a historical city. It's been around for a long time. There's a lot of value in having landmarks and be able to celebrate a city and be able to see all the parts and pieces of that city. So I'm excited. I'm excited that we're going to have that along the way for Paris. And let's take a look at the sale today, because that is one thing that brought a decent amount of excitement for people too. The Paris sweetener sale did happen today. The Thrifty Trader, again, this is an interesting one. It was a USD. You get the UPX, you get the bonus. Thrifty Traders are one of the more popular block explorers. They are one of the block explorers that make people more interested in a city. They're one of the block explorers that some people, when they purchase, are willing to pay a little more for. They tend to have decent markets depending on the city, and they typify the city, or they tell a story of the city in a way that other block explorers really don't. This is a structure that was kind of put together. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think. It wasn't specifically for LA. I think it was for Alameda. When we got that Oakland, we had one for Oakland too. When we originally had these Thrifty Traders start coming out, and they really typified the city for Oakland. I think that was the first one, and they said, "Ooh, that's the city I know and I love." That's going to stand out. That's going to be something that makes me think about this city mint, or this time in the game of Upland, or whatever the case is. They're fun. There are 400 of them available, 200 of them for Paris, 200 of them for Saint Denis. They were randomized. If you bought the bundle, there was 400 total bundles. 20,000 UPX was what you're buying at $20 USD, and then you either get one of the 200 Parises or one of the 200 Saint Denis as your sweetener. We had a second sweetener here, the Parisian Dreamscape. That was either the Fifi Antoinette or the Délice de Paris. Those are 2 options here. Again, 35 each. There's 70 total bundles. 50,000 UPX was your purchase. You're spending $50 USD on the 50,000 UPX. You get the sweetener as a sweetener. We're seeing these block explorers be listed. I see 60, 70,000 UPX. People are looking at getting a instant flip on these. The reality is there are plenty of people who didn't want to spend $50 to get one of these things. the block explorer might have been interesting for people, and the person might be very interested in continuing to stay in the UPX only market. They might have tons of UPX that they've earned as dividends, and it definitely doesn't mean as much in their pocket and their wallet as the money USD would. So there are certain people who want that block explorer. They just don't want to open their wallet to spend $50 USD. So that might have been something where that market continues to exist, where people are willing to spend a premium on the UPX side to get the block explorer without getting the UPX reward. That's something we'll continue to see evolve, but as of right now, we did see a strong market, people listing at a relatively high price for those. Keep in mind, there's only 35 of the Delice de Paris. There's only 35 of the Fifi Antoinette. There's only so much competition there. And again, if the demand keeps up with the competition, we know prices generally do this. That's just the way it works. Key dates here. Registration was Sunday into Monday. The sale happened today. These are all sold out. If I go and look in the game of Upwin, I click over here. Whoa, look at that. I go into specials. We'll see sold out, sold out, sold out. There was a Paris pass that sold out as well today, $4.99. That guarantees a random property being reserved for you. You still have to pay the UPX to mint it, but you have that opportunity. And then we had one for Saint Denis as well. And that mint pass sold out as well. So everything here for our sweetener sale, for our pass sales, these are out. These are sold out. They don't exist right now. They are gone. The Paris pass and the Saint Denis pass, those can both be sold on the open market. They have not had the snapshot taken yet. If you buy on the secondary market and that snapshot happens for the passes, then you can turn around and potentially have a property reserved for you and mint it if you choose to do so. So that is pretty simple process. It's been one that Upwind's been doing for the last several city releases, and it is an opportunity again to potentially get a randomized property reserved for you. So you do have that, whether or not you can participate in the city release. Again, with the bundle sale up front, you have a little more of that. You can't participate in the city release, or you choose not to, and you still have a property available for you. You don't have to buy in the secondary. You're getting it at mint price. And with the new bundle sales, that can be done at UPX without having to spend any USD at all to get there. So it is in that way. In that way, it is an interesting methodology of expanding out to people who might otherwise not participate in a city release. Now we have to talk a little bit on the flip side. The flip side is that once we have the actual city release, we have the city release on Thursday. Sorry, the actual city release on Thursday after the bundle sale. A percentage of these properties will have already been minted. They will have been minted as a randomized sale. Those properties probably aren't going to be in the hands of the person who really wants them. What will the market look like? How will they get sold? We'll have to see. Is there going to be a guarantee that you have a collection, or any way of knowing if you have a collection? Excuse me, before the city mint, before the actual competitive mint? No, there isn't. If you get a randomized purchase, you get a property, it may be a collection, it may not be, but you won't have that reveal for a while. So that's an important thing to know. And it's also important to know when we talk about these that there isn't strong guarantees about parts of the city. And if you're trying to do something very specific with the properties you own, the best way to do so is always to mint the specific properties you want to mint. So we will see that starting at 9 a.m. PT on Thursday, the open city release. Keep in mind, overall, only 25% of Paris is being opened. Official send fees, the low fees are 25,000. Oh, sorry, 25,000. 25 UPX, highs are 125, and the standard or the default is going to be 50 UPX for a send fee. Current fees when the city starts are going to be 15, 75, 30. That's because the way tiering works in a city, when a city opens, if it doesn't open on a large enough scale, if it opens only with a small portion of its properties, it's going to have a modifier effect on its city tiering. The city tiering of Paris is down tiered for the time being until it gets the rest of the properties released. Therefore, the tiering officially for the send fees. That's reduced as well, as will treasure hunting, or the participatory opportunities in treasure hunting. It's going to be a tier 1 treasure hunt eventually. It is a tier 3 treasure hunt to start. That's again a modified treasure hunt. Again, I do hear an open mic. Anyone in the Upland Cafe, if they want to mute their mics, appreciate that. Blue, I think Upland should buy existing properties in cities from players for Upland and resell those properties in USD and bundles to new players. I don't think they should be selling these properties pre-city USD prop bundle. Yeah, I had thoughts on that too. Blue, again, they have a sweetened bundle, a bundle where we're essentially taking landmarks that could otherwise be sold or given out as prizes or be done as modifiers, as a opportunity to really make that lottery ticket, make that opportunity for people to want to buy that property, uh, or buy that bundle for the purpose of maybe I get lucky, maybe I get that landmark. But I agree. If we're selling these things in USD as opposed to UPX, it kind of deviates. It does deviate from that concept of the minting opportunities are one of our rare opportunities to spend UPX. A lot of the other bundle sales in the game have gone to USD. What do we do with our UPX? We use them in city mints. And then if we're creating a diversion from the city mint, which is introducing USD purchasing, I understand that deviation is not necessarily seen as the most favorable for all people. Keep in mind, they are going to have a limited number of these overall, 500 of those bundles. With those limited bundles, they are going to be diverting some higher profile, more expensive properties in there, specifically landmarks. People could have some interest in. People might otherwise never have the opportunity to own a landmark for that price, anyways. They might not be willing to spend $500,000 or $500 or $600. Maybe they can afford the $99 USD. If they get lucky, they get the landmark. If they don't get lucky, they still get some properties. And I'll be 100% honest, I would expect their cumulative values to be more than 100,000 UPX, but probably less than 200,000 UPX. We've seen these things all over the map. We know that Upland says that they're giving you a value on the UPX, even if it's just a 1,000 times, or just 1,000 UPX to USD exchange, or 1,200 UPX to USD. And then Upland will say, "Ooh, that's a good deal," and maybe not everyone's going to agree with that. But yes, I mean, if Upland were to do a buyback of previous properties and then were to turn around and flip those to players, that would be a way of Upland, stimulating the economy, or at least maintain the economy in previous cities, as opposed to diverting some of the excitement from a new city. Because I think you're Blue, maybe this is your point, maybe it's not, but some of the excitement of a new city is being able to go to it with UPX, have the competitive mint, get the properties you want, and not have to go and buy them on the secondary. Because again, secondary is a secondary. Somebody who buys the property first may sell it to you for less than they bought it for, or more than they bought it for. It's a secondary market. The reality is some people can set their priorities, what areas they want to mint first, based on their priorities in the game of Upland years down the line. They want to mint properties in blank neighborhood because they want to have a meta venture in blank neighborhood, or they might want to mint properties in blank neighborhood because they think that blank neighborhood is going to hit collection. Whatever the reason, they want to mint the properties they want to mint. And again, if that overall opportunity to mint those properties is significantly reduced because of the randomization, that could be something that, again, it changes the way a city is minted. It changes the way people can participate in that city mint. I do want to look at a couple other things here. Again, keep in mind, Treasure Hunt Tier 1, we don't know when it's coming for Paris. We know that it's Tier 3 to start. The lowest price property that's a non-FSA in the city is going to be 5,544 UPX. According to Upland, there are 0% of properties that are going to be FSA reserved properties. Average mint price in the city of Paris is going to be 58,601 UPX, with a largest property of 3.2 plus million UPX for properties. There are going to be launchpad properties put in, so you could go and send to those properties and drift around the city. 27A Rue Jacques Louvel Tessier, 3 Rue de l'Ancien Commandant, and then 68A Rue de Beauté. Very cool. Again, I like when there's drift properties. I like when they're distributed throughout the city. There are 32 total landmarks in the city of Paris. So the 3 that are going out, there's going to be another 29. So keep that in mind. And there's a number of landmarks here that are very, 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 very famous. Arc de Triomphe, heard about it? I think so. Notre Dame Cathedral, heard about it? I think so. So there's a lot of pretty interesting parts of the city that are going to be standouts. They're going to be standouts, and they're going to be landmarks. They're going to be given out or sold at some point in the future. There is going to be a very important distinction here between two cities. We know that we have one city called Paris that's going to be 100% non-FSA properties, according to Upland's information, 100% non-FSA properties. We have a city of Saint Denis that is going to be 80% FSA properties. This is an opportunity without very much distance between the cities for people who are a new account, and people who have a brand new account that they have less than 100,000 UPX value in, and they want to buy a couple lower cost properties. Saint Denis is the place to do so. Paris is going to be higher priced UPX properties for individual lots or individual locations. We know there's going to be more lower priced options in Saint Denis. We know there's going to be properties that more established players are not allowed to buy in Saint Denis, literally 80% of them. So that is an opportunity for newer players. If they don't think they can be competitive in Paris, they don't think they can afford a 40,000 UPX property, or they can't afford a 40,000 UPX property, they can go to Saint Denis. They can go and see that there's properties in Saint Denis that are going to be at a much lower price point. There are going to be lowest minimum price is 1,000 UPX. The average price 6,582. Again, there's an average of 6,582 UPX for properties. So you can get a lot more small properties, or when I say small, I mean low UPX cost properties in the city of Saint Denis, if that's what you choose to do, if that's what you want, if you're a newly established player. And along those lines, I do want to also put out, this is a non-vanilla city in Saint Denis. That means that you are going to be able to know what the neighborhoods are, what the collections are. Saint Denis collection is a collect any 3 properties in Saint Denis for a singular collection. 3 more collections. There's Saint Denis neighborhood. There is a limited collection for having 3 properties in Saint Denis neighborhood. The Rue de la République, that's exclusive. You have to own 3 properties on Rue de la République. Rue Gabriel Péry, that is going to be an exclusive. Own any 3 properties on Rue Gabriel Péry. Keep in mind that these type of non-vanilla properties, these properties that hit collection and it is a standard collection, those properties are increased in value by whatever their collection assignment is. Realistically, we see this quite often, that these property values do push outside of FSA. They become more pricey than what would normally fit under an FSA tag, aka these might be opportunities for people who are established players to go to Saint Denis if they choose to do so and mint some of these properties. Caveat is there are probably going to be plenty of these properties that don't exceed the FSA tag limits, and therefore there are also going to be collection properties available for new players, available for FSA players along the way in Saint Denis. Easy enough. There's going to be one total landmark in the city of Saint Denis. It's Basilica de Saint Denis. Saint Denis. We knew we could do it. I knew we could do it. Again, 1 Rue de la Légion d'Honneur, 9320 Saint Denis. Paris, France. Oh, actually, Paris, France. Wow. Saint Denis is its own city. Saint Denis, France. There you go. Knew we could do it. Again, this is Upland says monumental opportunity. Olympics are going on. They're going on in Paris. Upland's doing the games. That's kind of running in tandem here. It's kind of fun. There's an event going on here. But the city is the focus this week. So the city of Paris, we haven't had the city for a bit. Paris has been one that was teased and was announced at Genesis Week 2024, live in-person event and online, of course. And it's one people have been waiting for. People have been waiting for years before the Olympics, before we had other international cities. Paris, France, Eiffel Tower. These are all things people have been talking about. And, it's finally here. So if you are interested in taking part, consider your options. Are you going to be someone who's going to go in with a 40,000 UPX budget? Well, is going for the competitive mint going to make sense at the 40,000 UPX budget if you specifically want to mint in Paris? Or do you want to try to pick up this bundle at 16,000 UPX to get one property, not guarantee the neighborhood, not guaranteeing the street? You don't even know what the property looks like in the size of the property when you go and buy it. You just gain a property, 16,000 UPX. You know it's going to be having a mint value of 16,000 UPX or more. That's a choice. That's an opportunity. That is something you may decide to do. If you have 40,000 UPX and you want to take chances, you could go and try to mint in Paris, and you may or may not get lucky. You may end up seeing that a lot of the properties that are at that mint value get minted out by someone before you get the chance to mint them, or they're in areas that you're not interested in minting, or they're just not there, one or the other. So it is a little bit of a gamble. We don't know everything about Paris, about pricing, about what property cuts are going to be. So something definitely worth considering. But the other thing to consider on that is, if you don't get what you want, you still have 40,000 UPX to do other things with. But if you really want to have those properties, again, these bundles are opportunities to guarantee yourself those properties. Again, assuming you get good draw numbers, you get a good place in that minting, or the purchase, the bundle purchase, and you get to buy the bundle to begin with. I'm looking at this another way too, when we look at these with the bundle sales and with the competitive minting, and that is an and strategy. Because if I want to have at least a couple 16,000 UPX properties, I'm going to do my best to buy those 16,000 UPX bundles. Done deal. That's going to help me out. I'm also, because I have probably close to 400,000 UPX by the time we actually have the city release on Thursday. I'm also going to potentially want to go mint some properties in specific areas. I'm going to read a guide. I talked to Banana last week on the Banana Guide. There's other guides as well that keep track of what areas are likely to hit collections. Again, this speculation. It is not my speculation. It is not something Upland's telling anybody. It is people who have researched and they've come to a conclusion about areas that they likely think could hit collection. And then keep in mind, Upland can come up with, and does come up with, their own ideas about what collections are collections, what areas should be collections, what neighborhoods, how they want to cut collections. Do they want to have more street collections in this city? Do they want to have more venue collections? We don't know that just yet, and nobody will know that until the collections are revealed. So if you are somebody who wants to mint very specific properties, you've gone and you've looked at the Banana Guide or other available information stuff that comes out and put out by the Assassins, or if you've got somebody else altogether that you have a little group with that you like to talk about a city and likely neighborhoods and what properties could hit collection, and that's part of your game, do that. Enjoy it. If you have some UPX available to do it, go ahead and do that. That could be your gameplay. That could be the most fun part of Upland for you. Keeping in mind that there will be a slight differentiation about the minting opportunities, because some of those properties will be sold through random distribution through the bundle sale. Done deal. Just understand what it is in this city release, and I think it's going to still be fun for almost everybody. And again, when I say the and strategy, that might be the only property I get in Paris that I paid 16,000 UPX for. I might try to buy other properties at 16,000 UPX, but I might not just find them in the part of the neighborhood I'm in as far as the drift. If I look for them in the city and try to send over there, am I immediately going to find a property that has a mint price under 16,000 UPX? I can't guarantee that I will. So there is a support on my side, or there is a reason on my side for those bundles to exist. Caveat on that is that there's also reasons for me to wish that I had the first crack at the minting before there was randomized bundles. So it's both. It's a little of both as far as that's concerned. And as we continue to look at these new cities, every time we have a new city, I think Upland's going to continue to play with things. They're going to continue to add opportunities, put things in, get things a little bit titrate. If people liked it, they do more of it. If people hate it, do less of it. See Prado. Good to know there will be some cheap ones. Hopefully, not just like they said would be in Bermuda and nobody saw them. Ha ha. Yes, see, if you want to go and use this sale, if you want to go and buy one bundle at 16,000 UPX, that's one way to guarantee that you're going to have a property with a mint price. Well, technically a mint price over 16,000 UPX, but a property that you had spent 16,000 UPX to get, which for me is a cheap property when I consider a tier 1 city, which Paris will eventually be, but won't be in terms of treasure hunting to start. Look at a couple other things here. First and foremost, let's go find. Ooh, there's Twitter. Ooh la la. Let's look at Twitter. I got one thing to look at for Upland, because there was something really cool, and that's something that happened very recently, and it actually happened just before I started the show. And see if I've got some pictures of it. Ooh la la. Let's see what we've got. Ooh la la. Look at that. I say ooh la la. This is the one and only Dirk Luth. Ooh, looking a little gray there, Dirk. I've seen him looking a lot less gray other places. We're all getting up there. This is Dirk Luth in France. So this is pretty cool. This is in Paris, or meetup just outside of Paris. This is something that was being done in tandem with Frupland. Again, these meetups are fun. If Dirk is in a place, it sounds like Dirk might be going to the Olympics. I don't know, but if Dirk is in a place for a convention, and there is a convention, or there is a large event in the crypto space, and we often see that Dirk or Adon are going to be there, and that's great opportunities to have local meetups, and with those local meetups to have staff members there. So pretty cool to be seeing that happen already. Again, that's kind of kicking things off because it's happening a couple days before the actual city release in France and Paris. So that's kind of cool to see that meetup happen to precede things. That was a pretty massive sneeze. I am pretty impressed that I was able to mute it before it happened. And the other things that we're obviously looking at, and we're going to look at it almost on a daily basis here. No, I'm not going to, but I'll let other people. Is on the Sparklet side of things. I do want to remind people that there are a number of Sparklet incentives that are going on. One of which is to do things by August 5th, getting things bridged back into the game of Upland. So this is something that's open for people, even if they are like me in the US and aren't able to use BitGet, and they weren't able to use some of these other exchanges. The Uniswap they can still participate in. There are some different ways this can be done, how you're going to get your USDT into your wallet, how you can use that wallet to go on a Uniswap and get Sparklet and get that Sparklet onto your wallet and then back into Upland. Here's the steps in Upland gifts. And this is an article that you can go take a closer look at. It's called uplandme.medium.com. That is the overall setting. The name of this specific article is called How to Bridge Your Sparklet to Upland. Okay, so let's take a look at the quick notes here with a caveat that if you are on other exchanges like BitGet, it may be even easier, maybe something that you've already done. Connect your wallet. First things first, ensure your MetaMask wallet is linked to your Upland account. Boom, boom, boom. Make sure your MetaMask browser extension is installed and properly configured on your computer. Boom, boom, boom. Again, there is a video here you can watch to learn how to do that. Navigate to the portal. Head over to the portal found in the quick menu. Quick menu is also known as the Magic Hot Dog. Do not miss track of it. It's right there in the middle of the screen. 3 dots, bottom of the screen, in that little. I don't know. It's I guess it's oval, ovular kind of there. Button on the bottom with the 3 dots in it of the Upland menu. That is your portal. You can navigate to it in the Magic Hot Dog. Inside the Magic Hot Dog, one clip here. Go to your portal. Click on that. Select the account. Here we go. Portal. This is this specific account for Ethereum. This tells you what wallet we're going to. Boom. Done deal. That makes sense. You select the amount. Boom, boom, boom. Decide how much Sparklet you want to bridge into Upland, because again, it's coming out of your existing wallet. Enter the desired amount you specify. You go poop, 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 and then you bring it in. Confirm with MetaMask. On the MetaMask side, transactions complete, and then there's going to be a delay for it to come into the game. Again, you have to connect your wallet first. You have to go and use your exchange. You have to buy your token and have it go to your MetaMask wallet. These are all things that if you don't know how to do them now, they are things you can learn. There are people that have gone and tried to work with each other. Again, we are now in the crypto age of Upland. Again, I don't think that we should always look at the value of Upland or what's going on in Upland based on what's going on in the crypto market, but you have to be willing to learn a little about crypto if you want to be part of all of Upland, because Sparklet overall is a crypto at this point. This is something that I have you reach out to people, do your research before you do it. Keep in mind when you build a wallet, if like your MetaMask wallet here, if you've never had them before, when you build a wallet, it's important that you keep track of your passcode, your passkey, that you have it well saved or well protected, as well as something that's accessible to you, aka do not lose your passkey. That's how you recover your wallet. If you have a MetaMask set up on a browser extension and the computer dies, the way you're going to ever get it back into your wallet is going to be to have that passkey. It's locked to you. It's typically not locked, at least with MetaMask. With other wallets, they're locked to you different ways, but it's not locked to your email and a password. It's locked to your MetaMask server. Your MetaMask server, again, is going to have an email and a password to get into that or to log into that generally. But if you get locked out of that access to that specific MetaMask, which is a download on your browser extension, if you lose that connection, the way you get back to that wallet, the way you recover that wallet is to have the passkey saved in a smart and intelligent place that you can get to it. If your computer got drowned, if there was a flood, if something happened to your computer, how are you going to get to your wallet? You have to have your passkey and have it saved in an intelligent way, in an intelligent place, one that's secure. That's the heads up there. That's the biggest thing about crypto, that if you're coming from outside the industry or outside the market, outside of the overall chasm that is crypto or has been crypto, this large space, that's the one thing to get started on. And then, of course, Upland kind of makes it relatively easy. This video here is easy for you to get in for connecting your MetaMask to Upland. Again, you can make a new MetaMask wallet in minutes. None of this stuff is difficult. Just like I said, keep track of your keys, follow and observe safety, and ultimately know there's gas fees. The gassing outside of Upland and into Upland on a Sparklet hasn't been that bad. People are talking about the equivalent of 20 or 30 or 40 cents USD to bring a bunch of Sparklet into the game of Upland. That is not crazy gas prices. So, I mean, some of it's been pretty efficient for us to get it in. It's been very efficient for people to get Sparklet out of the game. There's only so much I can complain about there. I don't like gas fees in general. They can be exorbitant. They can prevent people from participating, but in this case, they haven't been that factor that has closed things off or limited what people could do. I do want to look at one more thing, and I'm just going to do it for craps and giggles. Is I want to do this probably for one of the last times for a while, and the reason why it's important to do this now is because there you go, $sign Sparklet. Let's go make it easy. Let's go look at coin market cap. The only reason I want to look at it now is because there has been something that's happened the first week of Sparklet, because Sparklet's essentially been out for a week, more or less. We get 7 days of trading going. So what we can see is once we actually get 7 days of trading going, we start on the 25th, and now we're on the 29th into the 30th. Tomorrow will actually get us truly into 7 days of trading. We see this fall, and then we see when you actually get here. If I look at today, I'm like, wow, look at that. That looks great. But remember that what preceded the rise was a fall, and we did have the coin listed largely, or people largely saw it listed as a 14-cent coin. And then we saw it fall. Why was it falling? It was falling because people were selling more than people were buying. What does selling more than buying look like? It looks like people who have owned Sparklet who may have earned it rather than purchased it. Keep in mind, 80%, 90% of my Spark was earned. I didn't pay for it. I got it from one event or another. I found it in treasure hunting. I got it as level up rewards. I get airdropped a percentage of it when Sparklet was introduced in the game of Upland for participating and being a part of the game prior to Sparklet. Done deal. So the way I valued that might be different than the way I'd valued it if I had purchased it, which is how and why we saw the precipitous sale. We saw a 70.15% decrease from that 14% to where we sit right now. That is a lot. That seems like a lot. It says that happened in a month. It didn't happen in a month. It happened in a week. I want to keep one thing in mind. That 14 cents, technically speaking, when it first dropped, I mean, the first available purchasable Sparklet was actually like closer to 5 cents is when they hit the market. The 14 cents is when jumps right up there for consensus. It was listed in different markets at different times, but that 14 cents theoretically was higher than the original drop. We saw a lot of people selling the 14, the 13, and 10 and selling it down the line to get to a consensus towards the end of the day. I think that was just over 10 cents. And then we saw that slide. And then we saw another day and we saw it slide. We saw another day and we saw that slide. And then we saw it was more accessible. People weren't, in the beginning, the BitGet, there wasn't all the people who wanted to sell who were getting to sell. And more people knew about it. We got to the weekend. And at the weekend, people who hadn't gotten time to get in and sell their Sparklet yet, they wanted to sell their Sparklet. They wanted to get money out of it. And they go and they sell their Sparklet. And then we get to the weekend. And then it regulates here a little bit. It kind of calms down. It kind of gets back to a normalization. And then we get to Monday, and it's actually partway through the day, Sunday, but into Monday, and we see this Sparklet's going up. Doesn't mean that it's going to continue to go up. It doesn't mean that because it went up 10% today, it's going to go down 10% tomorrow. It doesn't mean that again, in broad terms, it doesn't mean that this found the consensus or found the bottom or is going to be something that is just a cyclical cycle. It doesn't mean any of those things, but it does mean that after several days of across the board or overall losses for Sparklet, the market price continuing to fall, again, headed back towards consensus, again, having significant sellouts because people who had held on to Sparklet for years, potentially at no cost, were trying to cash out as quickly as they could because that kind of a lot of that activity got fulfilled. A lot of that pent up desire and pent up activity to sell Sparklet got fulfilled, got sold. We're now starting to see that less of that activity is happening. Now the market, if the market is expressing demand and picking up Sparklet that's not readily sitting in the market, we're going to see that price go up a little bit, which is exactly what we're seeing. I'm not going to look at day to day. I don't want to keep saying it went up 10% today, it went down 10% today. But I did want to just see, as this happened, that yes, Sparklet is not on a precipitous downfall. It may go down again, but it's not on a continuous precipitous downfall. The fact that there was a precipitous downfall for a few days, for several days, does tie to the way the Sparklet was originally distributed. There was a lot of people who owned it at zero cost and then trying to take money out of it. And so with some of that getting caught up, or some of that demand to sell, that seller's demand being fulfilled, we do see that this is kind of changing course a little bit, at least for now, with a potential for it to do just about anything. And then with this again, the Sparklet, the release, the drop, tied to that was an airdrop. The airdrop's been going pretty well for the last couple of days. Let me get this out of the way so I can get to the airdrop. The airdrop is interesting, and I really like the way the airdrop is done in Chapter 2. The reason why I like the way the airdrop is done in Chapter 2 is because it got a high multiplier. No, it's not about the way things work for me. It's that, again, the way people are seeing your post as they relate to your missions is having a more direct effect on your multiplier, which is going to have a more direct effect on how much sparklet you get, as opposed to the system that happened before. And the system that happened before, it was easily exploitable. If you had an account that you had sat on for years and years, and it's an older account, and it had a bunch of followers, but none of the followers actually read anything you said because they were followers in name only, and some of those accounts were less active, or the algorithm had more or less swapped out their viewing habits of anything that you posted. If that was the case, your account had followers in name only, and you might have less participation about when you reposted Upland stuff than I did, because I'm reposting Upland stuff and having Uplanders, say, "Ooh, look at this," and make a comment, or maybe repost, or maybe put a like on that. And that was happening more often for, again, not necessarily myself, but just put my name out there, but for people who are active in the community, and people who have other Uplanders who follow them, and some people who have crypto people who follow them, people who aren't in Upland but are in associated spaces, and they're seeing and they're participating, and they're seeing my posts along the way, or other people's posts along the way. So that is where the focus should be, as far as I'm concerned. And this chapter sees that take front and center. This is what it looks like. We had multipliers over the weekend. We did talk about that there is this multiplier effect. There's this table of multipliers here. Top 10% get 32%, 32 times multiplier. Bottom 10% gets the 3 times multiplier. Your points are earned by doing different tasks, by doing a repost, by doing a quoted post, by doing a like. So those are different activities that you could be expected or asked to do. You do those activities, you earn points. Then you have a multiplier to increase the points. The multiplier is determined by the way people interact with your post, how many people see it for impressions, and how they're interacting. Are they liking? They following? Or they liking? They reposting? Are they commenting on what you're putting out there? So this is a really interesting way this is done. It's done on a percentile. So there are people who are going to be around the 50% mark, about the average. There's going to be people at the 100% or just under the 99.99% who are going to be some of the most active accounts, or most interacted with accounts. And then, of course, if you participate at all in this, you have a 3 times multiplier just for participating. In theory, that's what it looks like. And that 3 times multiplier increases the value of doing your actions, and going to get you some sparklet along the way. I can put it out here loud and proud. My previous multiplier is 31%. Pretty cool. I know a lot of people got high multipliers. Congratulations to everybody. If you did not get a high enough multiplier to make you happy and make your heart sing, go ahead and just participate this time around. Know that there are some things that are going to increase the way people interact with your post. If you are going to go and make a really fun comment when there is a quote, you quote the thing, you make the fun comment, you do a repost, you do a reply, you made a really good reply. More people are going to see that reply. More people are going to interact with that reply. That may help boost up your multiplier. So take it seriously, and keep in mind, we're talking about minutes worth of work over the overall airdrop. Again, it takes a little time to follow up and make sure the airdrops happen and see what's happening at any given point time, what points are available, etc., etc. But this is not a lot of time cumulative, and there is some sparklet to be earned along the way. Earn points. This is how we earn our points. We check this. We see what tweet tasks are available. I did this like earlier today. Here's a second mission on the 29th. This is a quote. So quotes are cool. So the reposted quote looks like this. Is my opportunity to read what Upland put up there. Landmarks, map assets, buildings. Oh my! Sparklet is the utility token in Upland that enables players to build and create. Hashtag Sparklet, hashtag Web3. Okay, get more eyes in front of this. But this is also my opportunity as somebody who has a different experience than some people in Upland to talk about my experience with Sparklet, or all the things that can be done with Sparklet. Somebody who's not in the game of upland now may not realize that there's a whole host of things to do Sparklet. So when I go and make my comment, it's going to be on that. I got to make it crafty. I got to make it witty. I want to keep my 31 or 32 times multiplier. I want to put some time into this. I'm not going to do this right now, but this is how I participate, and this is how I get points. And again, there's extra points here. The bonus points are do a good job with your repost with the quote. With that quote built into it, you're going to get more interactions based on how you quote, what you say. That's going to matter. You say the right thing, you get a repost. People are going to see that more often. So just keep that in mind. This is not locked into one group of people who have a certain number of followers. It goes into people, the way they interact with each other, and way you can encourage other people to interact with you based on what you're doing and what you say. And you're not a commercial, but ultimately spreading the word about Sparklet is what you're being rewarded for. And the prizes along the way are based on, and should be based on, how well you do that. And that is why I like this chapter much better than chapter 1. Chapter 1 did not really seem to capture that very well. The way you were rewarded was more based on your account than the interaction and the activity with your post with other people. I like that this is more tied to your activity, and I like that I'm doing well now as opposed to before. But for tonight, just keep your eyes on it. Do it. Do that every day or so. Check it, see what's there, get it done, keep going, do the next one. And again, it is something that you could do better this week around than you did last week if your multiplier was lower than you want it to be. So just keep that in mind and just keep participating. For tonight, thank you so much for being here. Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. PT. We get together, we do this thing, we have a conversation, we try to say things out. Good to see you, Wolf Warner. Yes, the new task is out now. Like I said, go and take a look at it. Go and get it done. If your computer drowns in a flood, that happens a lot. Computers can't. So yes, Cheese. Yes, Cheese. We can. It is fun to say things like, if your computer drowns in a flood, it is a reality. People lose their computers to natural disaster. You could have a lightning strike. When we start talking about decent amount of crypto, when we start talking about putting hundreds of thousands of dollars in a crypto wallet, keep in mind that crypto might be worth more than your computer. And if that crypto is worth more than your computer, you better be prepared to how you're going to save it if you can't save your computer. Done deal. Good joke, Cheese. Glad you caught it. Glad you were here tonight. And looking forward to Paris. Again, make sure you get in tomorrow if you want to register for the bundle sale. Bundle sale will be happening on Wednesday with the actual city release on Thursday. Thank you much for being here. Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. PT. Get back here tomorrow. We'll have something more. Maybe some more snark, maybe some more celebration, maybe some more fireworks. But looking forward to it. Again, if you're in the upland, have a Discord. Feel free to unmute your mics. The floor is yours.